ahead.
I got a question. Real quick.
sure.
So how did the home team name originate? Because I want to know, just if somebody's not as familiar with you guys, you know what I'm saying? How did all of this start? What was the origins for the home team?
Okay, so I had just moved back from Missouri. I was living in Missouri for 7 years, and I was making music out there, small pond. I worked my way up, and I was always tapped in with the scene here, but like I wasn't involved in the scene. And so when I moved back, at the same time when I moved back, I was being courted by artists to be signed to their label, like a artist from that blog era generation. And around that time, Nip had died at the same time. And so when Nip died, I really started feeling uncomfortable with the idea of like sitting and waiting on this deal to happen. Sure. And it made me really uncomfortable because it was like, man, I've been following Nip since 2010 or whatever and watched his trajectory. It would be like a slap in the face for him to have lived the life the way he did and me to go like really be sitting on my ass, like waiting for them to give me an opportunity instead of making one for myself. And so that's kind of where like the seed was planted. But then as I was just like looking at the trajectory of like what was going on in the DFW music scene, like, yo, why haven't we had like a movement here?
Right.
I asked that question, like, why haven't we had one? And because I had been gone for 7 years, it gave me a unique perspective because I hadn't been here. So I was able to look at it with like fresh eyes and like, okay, it's not so much the crabs in a barrel thing, it's the fact that there's never been a movement that people could attach themselves to. So right, it's one thing to have like dope artists, but every artist kind of has their like their niche, whether you're a street artist or
Stay lane.
Everybody got their lane, and it's hard for a metroplex of 7 million people to attach themselves to that or whatever. But you look at like Fly, Jay-Z, like it's easy for people to like, oh, that is cool, and I like that. I like the way he moves. Like, okay, I love his music too. Like now, let's get behind Rockefeller. Like everybody throwing up the rock, and there's certain things that they did, and I was like, okay, I think I know what to do. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna start a movement. And the name Home Team just kept coming to me. It just kept coming to me. I have no clue why. It wasn't no special reason behind it. It was just I just kept.
You did sports though, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't even for that, right? But and it was just like I don't know. It just kept coming to me, and I was like, all right, well, Home Team. And then because I'm from Arlington, I was like, branding wise, I'm gonna be very specific in what I wear. So I'm only gonna wear the Rangers hats, right? I noticed that people wasn't really wearing Rangers hats like that when I moved back, and so I was like, I'm gonna only wear the Rangers hat, and I'm gonna make our original logo was almost like was a direct flip of the Rangers logo. And so, all of that was intentional because I wanted to build that brand identity. Like, no, this is our movement. This isn't a label like, we're not mimicking Atlanta. We ain't mimicking California. We ain't mimicking nobody, but this is us. This is like where I'm from, and this represents us. So, yeah.
What's up?
One thing I like about y'all boys too, y'all are a collective, but y'all have y'all own sound. Each one of y'all has y'all own kind of vibe and what y'all coming with and bringing to the table. So that's one thing I can give y'all kudos on, man. I'm fairly new to the music that y'all put out, but after the dive that I did from y'all, bro, like I'm thoroughly impressed by you boys, man.
Man, appreciate that,
Thoroughly
for sure.
So how did the members of the Home Team come together?
Okay, I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking. But so for 2 years, the label just kind of lay dormant. I moved back 2019, 2020 pandemic. I met him in 2019, like on accident a bunch of times. We just kept running into each other. No, literally, the first show I ever did here, he was there. He just came up to me and was like, yo, man, that was dope, bro. Like, I rock with you. And then just like walked off. Like, all right, for sure. I don't even think he introduced himself. Like, we ain't like none of that. And then we ran into each other again at a homie's house, and then we just chopped it. And then we went our separate ways again, and then we ran into each other at a
Y'all didn't get the message yet?
No. It was the third time. The third time is where we got it. Yeah, and then we ran into each other. No, actually it was 4. But we ran into each other at a fashion show, and that's when it was like, all right, bro, we probably like need to, I don't know. And so we just linked up and we kicked it like all night. We, at the fashion show, we went to like a little after. Where did we go?
Texas Live.
Texas Live. We went to Texas Live. Okay, we just kicked it. It was like, okay, cool. Like it's an energy here. And then we started like making some music together. And so that's how RJ came.
Thanks.
And the other two, I met Oso, who's the one who sings the hook on Feed the Babies.
Okay.
I met, yeah, he's phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I met him because we worked together.
Okay.
And he wasn't even doing music. He was like, I'm just about to be a barber. I'm done with this. Like, he's from Fort Worth. And then I was like, man, just show me something. And he did, and I was like, yo, this guy is like incredible.
Hey,
Like,
bro got a record called Sincere.
yeah,
Fire, fool.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yeah.
I'll check it
Yeah.
out.
yeah, no, it's incredible. And
Okay.
he has like, I recognized off the bat his tone. Like
Yeah.
his tone is,
It's-
it takes years to hone that
Yes, it
type of
do.
like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta know
Yes, it
what
do.
you're doing to do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, there's no way, like, we gonna like be friends. I'm gonna let you not do music, not happening. And so I just kind of like kept pulling him in, And the first thing we actually did together was the Feed the Babies hook.
Ah, really?
And you know, we vibed, and he kind of freestyled that while we was at work, and we just pieced it together. And then the last piece, 2-3, the last piece artist wise was 2-3, and that was him and Oso go back years and years from making music together. And one day we were just in the car before work, and he pressed play on 2-3's music, and it's just playing. I'm like, yo, who is that? He's like, oh, that's my boy 2-3. He don't really do music anymore, but he hard, right? I'm like, bruh, how does he not do music anymore? Like, once again, it was his tone. It was like, everybody can't do that. They can't sound that polished.
Right.
And we literally called him. He called him on FaceTime. I was like, yo, bro, can you pull up to the studio tomorrow? And he was like, you know, he wasn't going to do it at first, but somebody literally the day before had asked him about making music. And so it was like, just like this rare, like, it's meant to be type of thing
Right.
that happened. So he came and,
It
you
seems
know.
like all of
too.
it was meant to be. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't
That's
like you reached
divine,
out to
man.
your homies. Like, it was just every connection was.
And I tried that.
You tried that?
I
Okay.
tried it, but it just didn't work. You know, it was like God had to put it together the way He wanted to put it together. So
That's
we just
what's
had to
up.
get out the way.